This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
But moving the conversation along, we now turn to the Senate, which has amended the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Act that increases the percentage of loans under the Ways and Means facility that the CBN can give the government. The increase has gone from 5 to 10%. Now, the act was amended in an accelerated hearing during a closed-door session in the Red Chamber yesterday. This change is coming a week after the federal government had announced that it is no longer dependent on borrowing from the CBN's Ways and Means to fund government. And joining us on the conversation this morning is the former chief economist at Zenith Bank PLC, Marcel Okeke. Mr. Okeke, good morning and welcome to the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me today again.
Mr. Okeke, what is your reaction to this particular move by the Senate as regards the Ways and Means facility, the increase of the percentage?
My reaction is that it reflects the desperation of the executive arm of the government, in looking for money from all sources. You can see about a week ago or so, there was also this new law that is called windfall tax that will be retroactively levied on banks' profits. Not long ago, too, there was cyber security levy that was to be in place, and this one, they are now trying to change the law to move the percentage of Ways and Means, to be approved for the government from 5% to 10%, so that the CBN will just be printing money for the government. So it's issue desperation in looking for easy ways of making money, and it doesn't bode well for the economy. That's my first reaction. So
essentially, the percentage that the government can borrow from the CBN has been increased. Now, as I understand it, 5% of the previous year's revenue is what the CBN could loan to the government for, and that's to meet up with budget shortfalls. With this particular increase, what do you think it does to the economy? What do you think it does to the government's ability to essentially fund its expenses?
Well, yes, we are usually always told that the government wants to develop infrastructure, meet social contingencies, and so on and so on. But the truth is that over the years, our history tells us that it's usually abused. And one of the bad effects of such printing of money that is not backed up with production and productivity is that it goes to that inflation. And you and I know that this economy has been battling with spiraling inflation that is now up over 34% random. You understand? So printing more money and pouring into the system like that is not good for the economy. You understand?
Right. Well, Mr. Okeke, I wonder if there's any, I guess the word I might use here is justification for this. We did talk earlier during the week about changes that the government is making when it comes to crude oil production by deciding to sell in Naira to local refineries. I wonder if these two, well, if you want to call them policies, if these two moves are connected, and if anyway one benefits off of the other.
No, they are not connected. The one that will allow Dangote and others to buy crude oil in local currency, Naira, is a great idea. It's a great idea, because that will help us in balancing the pressure of demand and supply in the foreign exchange market. Much of the pressure in the FX market comes from importation of refined products. So now that the importation volume will go down, and we start having local refineries, everything in Naira, that will reduce the pressure, and the Naira will start stabilizing at a lower exchange rate to the dollar. That's what's going to happen. But on the other hand, this issue of allowing the government, to get money printed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to a larger volume will be driving inflation. There won't be much to show for it. That's my response.
Mr. Okeke, thank you as always for your time and your expertise on this conversation. Marcel Okeke is a former chief economist at Zenith Bank PLC. He joined us this morning to speak on the Senate's amendment of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Act that increases the percentage of loans the CBN can give to the federal government from 5% to 10% under the Ways and Means loan facility.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.